And his throttle man Errol Lanier getting a rough ride. They have to win it today if they have any chance. I'll take you. Oh, look at him. He come up that boat, comes bouncing off those outdrives, has to hold on, and really, they have to negotiate a real tough course here.
Jim, here's Chariots of Fire, the M5. This is interesting. This is not the original Chariots of Fire. John Paul Emmons got with Joey Impresio, and Joey said, look, your boat was destroyed in Atlantic City. You come with me, and let's rename my boat Chariots of Fire, and that's what they did. Pete Hidalgo aboard the American Dream. He's been chasing the modified national champ all week and knows what it'll take to win the World Cup title.
Basically, if he finishes fifth and I finish first, I become world champion. That's slim and none, but hey, we'll hang on to slim.
Right now, he's got to hang on to the American Dream because that boat is flying high out of the water, as you saw moments ago. Whoa, what's happened here? Joe Mock in the Dirty Laundry has slowed down. He's off of plane. Now, all he has to do is go longer than any other boats in his class or just finish the race, and he'll have the championship.
Here's the pro stock Miss Don Q, Ocean Outboard Skater battling along the short line. Tony Caliguri knows what it takes to win in this evenly matched class.
All it is really reliability. All the boats are very evenly matched, and we're running in the high 90s, close to 100 miles an hour in race conditions, and it's just which boat's going to finish and who's going to push the hardest.
Sort of the IROC series of offshore racing, if you will. Boy, look how evenly those boats are matched. Miss Don Q and the Ocean Skater. We have more action coming up from Key West, Florida. When we continue, we're going to give you a special inside look at one of the finest test facilities in the world. That's coming up next. It's not on any map, but in the wilds of Central Florida, there is Lake X, Mercury Marine's top secret high-performance testing facility. It's here that the latest innovations in power boating are tested and refined. Competition racing boats also come to Lake X for rigging before setting off on the race circuit. Lake X is on the leading edge of high-performance marine technology. We asked Mercury Marine's Bill Casca what new technology was being developed at this facility.
That's why it's called Lake X, and that's why it's secret. We can't talk about it, but we do have a high-speed test track there in Lake X, which is south of Orlando, and everything we do related to the racing world ends up there one way or another.
All kinds of racing boats come to Lake X for testing. Inboard hydroplanes, the exciting outboard tunnel hole race boats, and of course, boats from all classes of the offshore racing fleet.
We're back now to Superboat action, and Tom Gentry's being challenged as they approach checkpoint number 3, coming back in. On the top of your screen, the yellow boat is the Popeyes. We've got a battle. And Al Copeland Jr. knows he has big shoes to fill.
I've driven the boat the first time out the box. Her father had the national championship to clinch, and he used the old Warhorse, and I took the new boat out for its test run.
Did your dad give you any words of advice, things you might look out for?
Be safe, be careful, and be cautious.
Sounds like the old record, Dick. Don't worry. Be happy. Look at this battle in the Superboat class. On the top of your screen, Al Copeland Jr., Popeye's Diet Coke. Tom Gentry from Honolulu at the bottom of your screen takes a slight lead.
And I think it's amazing to watch those boats, too, as big as they are. We saw some of the big boats earlier just bouncing wildly out of the water, but you can see now as they change direction a little bit, things are smoothing out just a little. There's Don Johnson in the number 99. And, of course, Al Copeland Sr. in the yellow boat right behind him. They've got a little battle going on there also. Here's Ganzia de Ganzia out of Italy, and this is a boat that has virtually won all of the races on the European circuit. Let's go to Rich Lords.
And what's happening at this race in Key West is the American Offshore Racing Fraternity is being kicked in the head by a mule, and the mule is called Diesels, and the Diesels are in the village of this boat, this Fabio Buzzi Gancia de Gancia. This is the shape of things to come. Not necessarily a V-bottom with a wing on it, which is nice and gimmicky and all that, but diesel power. Turbocharged diesel power is coming of age as I speak. We're about 5 miles ahead of the rest of the open fleet after 3 laps of racing, and that's because this boat weighs 19,000 pounds and doesn't care what the water does. Interesting thing about this, he doesn't have to throttle. In fact, he can't. You can't really back a diesel down and throttle it through rough water. It dies on you. The boat also is probably faster with a full load of fuel than it is empty, as you build greater boost with greater weight and therefore get greater horsepower out of a diesel engine. It's the opposite of just about everything we've been taught and worked on in offshore racing for 20 or 30 years, but it works, and it works well.
And the wheelman is Stefano Casaraghi. He's married to Princess Caroline of Monaco, royalty on hand here today. Currently in second place in open class as chairman of the board, Neri Sabunco has learned a lot about his new boat during this World Cup Series this week in Key West.
The first race was we broke down, so we put that behind us. That was the first failure. The second race, I learned how to race. The third race, the boat is ready, I'm ready, Tom is ready. We are going all the way.
Obviously, they are ready, and they were prepared for this race because that boat is operating just about flawlessly as we look at it on the course. There's the 103, the Lamborghini-powered Achille motors, and the US 1 Special Edition. Now, John D'Elia has led in his class since the start line, and he's really been holding off the Italian entries. But now, we drop back a little bit, you can see the distance, and they are not letting him have any running room. This boat, as big as it is, Jim, has been having a rough go of it today.
And this may be the last race for this boat. They're planning a new one next year for the Bob Kaiser Aero Linear team.
Another boat that's been out bouncing around a little bit is the Silver Bullet, the number 77. There you see Jack Clark, who's throttling that boat. Craig Barry, of course, is the driver. Look at that. They've got to be real careful about stuffing that cat down in there.
Here's Mr. Kobayashi, a veteran from Japan, driving in the Bengal Bay Club, getting a good ride. Gus Falcon, and we've seen him in the past few years, an experienced throttle man helping out here on the waters of Key West. Oh, we have a problem in the danger zone.
Bermuda's racing team, Wesley Wilson and Derek Simons, has capsized. They've turned over in the course. The word is that the crew members are okay. Here's another one, Priority 1. Greg Buchanan and his crew are abandoning ship as we look at it. Jim, this is all happening between checkpoint 1 and 2. That's a danger zone because that's where the reef is that separates the Gulf from the Atlantic. So you get a lot of turbulent water, and obviously it's taking its toll. Now, along with the turbulent water, you also get a shoreline run to make it a spectator's race. Fabio Buzzi does not like the idea of these boats being that close in.
I don't think this is the way to go. Offshore is offshore, not inshore. So there should be more long-distance race, and the engine has to be more reliable. If you short the race, you help the unreliability of the product.
Ganzia de Ganzia, and that driver, Fabio Buzzi, giving his rendition of what the course should be like. Bob Kaiser, on the other hand, feels today's offshore course benefits the sport.
This sport would not be where it is today, or this event wouldn't be what it is today in the United States if we were running to San Key and back and never coming in the harbor or giving the spectators anything to see. So I disagree with him completely.
And I think a lot of the Americans will stand with him on that. They like the idea of the fans being able to see the boats, and they like seeing the fans. And one guy that'll agree with him, I'm sure, is Al Copeland Sr.
It would be disastrous for this sport to even think about going that way, because the momentum has been built over the years. The momentum is continuing to build, and it's going to be fantastic if we just keep it up. But for anybody to think about us going back offshore is crazy.
And I think we have typical American and European views on it. My own view is the fact that they should keep with the American idea. That is, keep it where the spectators can see it. Jim?
I agree with you. Tom McCurry is the 1988 Pro Stock National Champion. He's throttling this boat here, chairman of the board, moving up in class because of a planned merger of modified and Pro Stock classes.
In the beginning, there was inboards and outboards in Pro Stock, and it's a very difficult marriage to make for the simple reason that in different water conditions, the inboard's going to have an advantage, and in other conditions, the outboard's going to have an advantage. But there's no way you can run an outboard boat against an inboard boat in rough water. From a realistic standpoint of view and a safety standpoint of view, it can't be done.
Well, I'm sure we're going to hear more of that type of an opinion during the off-season for the offshores. For instance, even though he's going slow now, Joe Mock agrees that modified boats do have an edge in big water.
We definitely have an advantage in rough water. The weight of the boat's in the middle of the boat, so the boat's balanced better. The outboard's got the weight on a transom, and the boat will not ride as well in a rough.
So a little bit of food for thought for the off-season for the offshore power boats as they discuss possible combination of the classes.
The Gentry Turbo Eagle, the Cat, still leading Popeyes as we look at superboat action here on Key West waters.
And we will be back to continue with that action from Key West, Florida, in just a moment. Florida, Jim Hendrick is caught up with a world champion, the owner of the Miss Budweiser.
Bernie, it did not start out very well in Miami for you.
Well, it surely didn't, Jim. We won our first heat. Second heat we won. Coming out for the final, Jim Kropfeld spun the boat, and the Pringle boat ran over the top of us and put us out for the Detroit race. So,
But the canopy saved him.
oh, the canopy saved his life. Thank the Lord for that.
Then you picked up Tom Deeth from Fairhaven, Michigan, substitute driver for the rest of the year. And, of course, of the Gold Cup, things didn't get much better.
No, they really didn't. He went out, won the first heat, won the second heat, and in the final heat, he rolled it. And so that took about 300 hours in a week of hard work and got it ready for the next race with Madison. We won the Madison, but they called an infraction on us, made penalize us an extra lap, went on to Syracuse, New York, and we won Syracuse, went on to Tri-City and Seattle and won those, and won Las Vegas and come out the world champion.
And certainly a good season for the Miss Budweiser. Terrific unlimited hydroplane season all year long. And there's the Miss Don Q now, the P-88. There you can see where that boat is on the course now. This is the second lap for this boat, so they are back out onto the main stretch, if you will, heading to the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Don't forget about that reef, too, that comes up between checkpoints 1 and 2.
Here's the Concrete Cat, Dick, and he's currently in second place, Ray Tresh. In fact, the Tuesday and Thursday elimination heats, he was finishing second place. He's currently, at least he's consistent. He could win this if he can just maintain the points.
That's right, and here's the boat that was finishing first, and look at this. He's got problems with the port engine. This is the Ocean Skater. Caligari has got to be sensing at this point he's got serious problems. He is holding on to third. He's got to finish the race third or better to take the championship. And what do we got here?
A modified is in trouble right now. The attrition, Chariots of Fire, who is leading, Joe Precia and that gang, they are now, well, you can see they have their helmets off.
And here's the boat that's going to come up and try to catch him and see if he can pass him when take advantage of that situation. The American Dream, Pete Hidalgo, who we heard from earlier. He's got a good ride. And also, here's Digger's office, Digger Durgans, who's aboard Special Edition. He's throttling that boat. Bill Barnhart is actually driving the boat. This is a great shot because you get to see Digger's right hand. And really, it's the throttle man that makes the difference in these boats as they fly out of the water. Here's the leader in the open class, Fazio Buzzi. Now, earlier we asked him, how fast is this boat?
My boat is a real 106 and 107 miles per hour, always. That is important. The top speed is not exceptional, but the boat is very well balanced. So, and we have some new system to control the stability of the boat. So this helps us a lot in the speed at different sea conditions. So this is why we can always have a very high average speed.
Fabio Buzzi, who is driver of Ganzia del Ganzia, and there you can see Systems. Bob Kaiser, Errol Lanier is his throttle man in that boat, and boy, that is a competitive team. And look at him go. He is now moving up into second place, Jim.
Yes, he is. He's passing the chairman of the board. Low! He comes out and knocks that stern right against the wave. The bow goes slapping down. Here's the silver bullet with Craig Berry. As we look at the open class field now, over 3/4 of the way through this race.
And still battles are wide open. The championships could go any way. There's the boat from Japan, Bengal Bay Club, still very much in this race. They would like nothing better than to take back a world championship. Special edition, John D'Elia and his son, J.D. D'Elia. Look at the water churned up behind that boat as they power themselves through the Atlantic. A good job at driving, and this is a boat that was new to the circuit this year, and it is encapsulated. Uh-oh, we have got a problem.
Al Copeland Jr., Bob Adoni out of the cockpit now on the deck of the boat. That means they're through for the day. The Coast Guard comes over to assist.
So that is a big, big surprise. That boat was right up in there with Gentry. Here's Dad, if you will, Al Copeland Sr. with Mark C.A. in the boat, and they are just hanging right in there in that V-bottom. This rough water is good for this boat. They enjoy it. They can cut right through the waves, as you can see. And they're chasing the Gentry Eagle 99 boat. Don Johnson, who last year was driving in the open, now the Supers. Is there a difference?
Yeah, it's different. You know, I mean, it's, for me, I enjoy it more. It's, you know, the competition is really tough out there, and in both classes. But the super boats are, they're just more fun.
And it's going to be a lot more fun if he can take a win in this class. And right now he's in very good position to do just that. We'll get back to find out how he finishes this race. Here's the guy he's racing, who is the team owner, Tom Gentry. Tom has actually led this race right from the beginning. Will he hold on, or will his teammate get the win? We'll find out, because the finish is in sight. Before we get back to the racing in Key West, Florida, have you ever wondered how a boat hull is constructed so that it can take the pounding that the boats at Key West are taking? Well, first you take a mold and you paint it. Then you add layer after layer of fiberglass, bonding it with a super strong marine resin like AME 4000. It's a time-consuming bit of work, but it pays off. After the mold is made, the finished boat hull is just popped out, ready for construction. And before long, it's like this one, out on the course running.
Tom Gentry qualified for this race because he is the defending world champion. What about next year? What are the plans?
Well, we did the transatlantic and we got halfway across. We hope to make the other half this summer. So that's going to be our major thrust this year. We may support some of the other guys which are going to run our motors and stuff like that. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Guys are figuring out that our stuff works.
And Tom Gentry leads this one in Superboat class today, but his teammate, the number 2 boat, Gentry Eagle, number 99 with Don Johnson, if he maintains second place, he'll win the World Cup here today.
He is right now approaching checkpoint number 4. And incidentally, Jim will point out, Don Johnson is really honestly driving that boat and has done so all week long and done a fine job. Third place, the number 10 Popeyes Diet Coke, Al Copeland Sr. He's got a good ride. That's the V hull we talked about, and he's holding it right in there, having a very steady ride all day long. And of course, the teammate to that boat, the Catamaran, is out of it.
Let's check the open class. Ganzia de Ganzia currently leads. They're coming down to the wire now, and the finish line at the pier house. They're all waiting with those checker flags.
And you know, Fabio Buzzi has talked about stability, and look at that boat right now. He roughs up just a little bit. He's got good steps on it, though, keeps good altitude, and it is very stable. Meanwhile, the systems boat of Bob Kaiser has really been put to the test, and he is put to the test again right there.
He stuffed it. Boy, that was dangerous. He's going all out. He don't care. He's really being wild here today.
Right now, the Silver Bullet is riding in third place. Jack Clark is the throttleman on that boat. He had built that boat, and he also built the US 1 boat. So he's competing against his own. Here's Mr. Kabuyashi in the boat from Japan, Bengal Bay Club, holding in at 4th place right now.
And the Delia team, special edition, 5th place, Dick.
That's one of the smaller of the boats in the class, and it is having a little trouble with the rough water that we've been talking about all day long. John Delia and his son J.D. in special edition. Let's swing now over to the modified. This is America. Oh, American Dream bowed down and right into a wave. I got to tell you, these boats are taking a pounding out here today.
Here's Bill Barnhart and John Durgan, 2nd place, special edition of the modified class. We don't want to confuse you, but there are 2 special editions. One in open class, and this one we're watching in modified.
Now, still nursing it along is Dirty Laundry, Joe Mock, and Hurley Stepp. Now, all they have to do is finish the race or finish further along than any other boats in the class, and they will take the championship.
In the Pro Stock, Miss Don Q, the Sorellis boys, currently at 1st place as they come down and eye that checker flag in the Pro Stock division.
They've got a little competition from this boat, the P-15 Concrete Cat. Ray Tresh holding it in there. Boy, that's a great shot into that cockpit there, and you can see the speed that that boat is going.
First defense is 3rd place. Ed Martinez and Mike Novick really going. Mike took his 75-year-old mother for a ride in this boat 2 days ago, and she loved it.
I'll bet. Thrill of her life, to put it mildly. There you can see the engine that is a problem now for the Ocean Outboard Skater, the boat that seemed to have 1st place wrapped up coming into this race, but as you say, don't predict anything when you're talking offshore powerboat racing. This boat is definitely slow on the course.
We're about to complete this 3-race event for the World Cup and down to the pier house. Here comes your winner for today's event in Superboat class.
Tom Gentry in the Turbo Gentry Eagle has taken 1st place today. However, the boat right behind him is the other Gentry entry, and it is driven by Don Johnson. He will be proclaimed world champion in the Superboat.
Because he had 3 good showings, a 1st and 2 seconds. Gentry Eagle wins today, but your overall World Cup is Gentry Turbo Eagle, followed by Popeyes Diet Coke and the PTM Express. Those are our Superboat results.
And certainly congratulations to all of the drivers in the Superboat. Some super racing out there on rough water course. Here's our first foreign entry coming in. This is in the open class. The winner will be Fabio Buzzi, and I'll tell you, the boat has that weird wing on it, but it sure worked for him in that rough water today.
And that horizontal stabilizer keeps the boat light. Unlike cars, they use it to keep it down. on the service. They want to fly this boat, and they've flown to a World Cup victory here in Key West today in open class.
So Fabio Buzzi, who didn't particularly like the race course setup, takes it anyway. The World Cup systems, Bobby Kaiser second, special edition. The U.S. won, John D'Elia in third, and Silver Bullet, Craig Berry and Jack Clark in fourth.
From the Ocean Key House, we're looking down toward the wet pits. Let's go down to Mark Spencer and the Superboat winner.
Tom Gentry, 1-2 finish for the Gentry team.
Our boats did it. Our engines did it. All right.
At the start of the race, when Al Copeland was just right behind you, were you playing with him, or was that heads-up racing?
Well, we had a little speed, quite a bit extra. Yeah, we were okay.
This is the performance of the V-bottoms. Everybody thought that the Superboat class was going to turn into a totally cat-dominated race. The V-bottoms haven't done bad.
Well, statistically, they're in good shape because they've got less things to go wrong. We did break a drive shaft on Wednesday, but other than that, our boats won their respective sizes and classes, so we're really happy about that.
And a happy crowd down at the Galleon Resort pits, along with Tom Gentry, the winner in the Superboat class. We'll be back with more winners from the 1988 Bud Light Key West Offshore World Cup in just a moment. Let's go down to the pits now and join a real world champion.
Hey, Don Johnson, you said, when I asked you if your fans would take you seriously, you said, let my record speak for itself. Now what do you say?
I think we're serious.
Only 9 races in your whole career. Do you ever think you're going to be a world champion?
God, I didn't. You don't even think about that. You just go out and you run one race at a time. And I got to tell you, we lost the port engine about a quarter of a mile right out here. We limped in on 2 engines.
Now, what about the feeling when you passed Popeyes? What was that feeling?
Well, you feel bad for them. They ran a good race. They always come out here and run hard. They're great competitors. I love competing with them, and it's unfortunate that they broke down. We were neck and neck and running, but today is
and then
today was our day.
Flag is another feeling, right?
You bet.
Well, a happy guy, and rightfully so, Don Johnson, the World Cup champion in the Superboats.
The modifieds are now just finishing. It's Jeff Soper at the wheel, Peter Hidalgo in American Dream. They'll win today's version of modified racing, but the overall winner will be, I believe, Dirty Laundry. Let's go down to the pits as Mark Spencer is with the Open champion. Mark?
Fabio Buzzi, you came here with a point to prove, and you proved it.
Yes, it was a fantastic race today with the right and the perfect sea for our boat, which is a monohull, and everybody knows, the monohull is quicker than the cat. This is the reason why we have won.
You came in as a favorite, but nobody thought you'd dominate the way you did.
Well, you see, we have learned one thing in Europe, that water is never calm. I don't understand really why everybody in the States is going with the cat. We have seen today that we have not seen one cat going well. There's always some sea. And we think that monohull, with some changements, like we have done in our boat, which is lighter, the construction steps and wings and serve drives can be better than some cats.
Our congratulations to the Italian team, Gancia de Gancia, for their open class victory here in Key West today. Here is the winner for today's Pro Stock here at Key West, the Miss Don Q. Meanwhile, we have just learned that Joe Mock at Hurley